morning. Welcome back to Cats World, and today I'm going to be watering the plants that I brought into the office. As you see here, I have a peace lily, and that was broken up from another one down the line. And then I've got a Chinese evergreen, a bromeliad, another Chinese evergreen, a third one that's for the desk, and then finally this is the original peace lily that a dear friend gave to me. When you're watering plants, you want to check the soil to make sure that it's not being overwatered. So looking at this plant, you can tell that the soil's been pulled away from the sides. And then also you can tell in different types of soil, like the soil is lighter, meant for the office, and so it's easier to see that it's been pulled away. You can tell this bromeliad has beautiful bright green leaves. So when we have leaves here that are yellowed and getting really translucent, it means that it definitely needs some water. But also for this particular plant, you can tell it needs water because there's absolutely none pulled inside of any of the leaves. When the soil is watered, you can also tell the difference because it's significantly darker, and also it's wet. It sticks to your fingers. So when you come over here, you can tell this is really dry because it's just like powder. So now I'm gonna water some plants. So when you're watering plants, you wanna make sure that you're using room temperature water or a water that is less than freezing cold, because it's not in the ground, they're potted, and you don't wanna shock the roots by using freezing cold water like that comes out of a refrigerator, or like a cooled water fountain. Sometimes it's super duper cold. So what I usually do is I fill up the water and then I actually leave it near the plants, not necessarily to boil in the sun, but just to get it to room temperature. So sometimes it's by the window, or sometimes it's at my cubicle. But now I'm gonna continue watering. So part of watering is that sometimes it needs to be done in stages, because when the soil is really dry, it actually repels the water, which is part of what's going on with places with like flash flooding when they're super dry. The same thing happens with regular plants in pots, which is that the water will pool and it takes time for it to seep into the soil. So you might have to water it and let it soak in, and then come back to it and give it some more water, so that you actually fill the space with enough water for the plant. A good indicator that you have enough water is that water starts trickling out of the bottom. But once you get used to how much water a plant takes, usually you can prevent it. The other thing too is about nutrients. There are cleaning chemicals in the water that allows us to drink it. It shouldn't matter for your indoor plants because you're also providing fertilizer when you change out your soil. And then also there are the annual sticks like from Miracle-Gro and things like that that you can put into the soil if you don't change out the soil. So you don't have to worry so much about the chemicals in the plants from the water because you're not eating these plants. So if you were doing vegetables or herbs, you might consider doing like testing of the water just to make sure that you're not putting toxins in there that you would then be eating. All right, and now we continue watering. So about when to water, Normally you don't do it like right when it's direct sun, but this is kind of where they live, is in direct sun. So do it as early as in the morning as possible, because then as the day gets hotter, the plant doesn't get shocked again by the water temperature. So now I'm going to finish up watering, and then I'm going to refill the bottle and leave it in the shade over by the plants, so that when I need to water again, which would probably be in this very hot, dry environment, probably about 4 or 5 days. So if it's Monday, I would just water it again by Friday. But during the week, I check on it, and when you're checking plants, it's good to give the leaves a wipe down to pull the dust off, because they're using the leaves to produce use the chlorophyll to pull in the sun, as well as keeping good maintenance on the pots. Keeping the dirt where it belongs inside the pot and keeping the dust off, just as nice maintenance. The other thing we're looking at is during the year there'll be other videos about how to take care of the plants, like when the blooms start to disappear and they become brown, how we maintain the plant when it's not in the blooming season. And these plants, I found through experience, have the ability to bloom twice in a year. I'm sure there are horticulturists who can do other magic with them, but this is what I can do. Thanks.